What's up, everybody? I bet you're ready for another module. Lucky for you, I got one. So let's get right into it, shall we? I know you have your fall break coming up, so I made this module a little bit less hectic for you. So you're welcome. Take advantage of the time and reset and recharge your batteries. It's always important. So yeah, I wanted to just briefly go over the edits, which they were really good. For the most part, everything was really good. I wanted to talk about some inconsistencies, maybe, I guess you could say, that I saw, but you know, it's a learning process. So when I say issues like this, it's not that they're bad or anything like that. It's just, you know, ways to improve upon. If you follow down this trajectory of becoming a videographer or a filmmaker in your life, you'll look back on stuff you edited and go, boy, what was I thinking? So let's just talk about some of them. One of the first things that I noticed was the overabundant use of the fade. Now, it's kind of like a kid in a candy store. Once you realize, oh, hey, I have a really cool, candy, I want all of it. But too much of anything is a bad thing. So we learned about in editing, the importance of transitions. So some people got a little bit happy that they found how to make transitions, and it just got a little bit much. If you have a client, they're not going to want you to get too terribly fancy. Now, if the moment calls for it, like the opening or ending of a film, totally cool. Or if it just seems you have to get visceral with editing, meaning from your gut, that it's the right spot for it. I can't remember, somebody did it, and clearly they had some editing experience, and they made the transition work. So I don't want to say if it feels right, because sometimes your feeling can mislead you. But if it's appropriate, maybe is better. If there's a reason for it, not just because you can. So, push wipes and, things of that nature, only if you need them. Especially with a fade, because it's sort of implicit of time passing by, or it really slows things down. But if you're transitioning from close up of the eagle to a wide, maybe, and again, it's always determined on the moment. There's no universal rule for it, but a few people got a little fade happy. The other is, just allowing the right amount of breath between things. I had talked about, as you're editing and you have your narration, I'm going to solo this, so I just hear the narration right now. Finding the right amount of time for transitioning between two to the other, like from one shot to the next. So see down here on my timeline how I've just enough of a gap.
Eagle unique to North America in the late 20th.
And
unique to North America in the late.
It just, you can hear it. It feels a little rushed.
And the late.
A little rushed, right? Now let's see what happens when we put music on it.
The bald eagle is the only eagle unique to North America in the late 20th.
So it's a little rushed, but it's not bad. You'll probably have a time deadline with your clients. Like I've worked with Fandom, Dictionary.com. Gosh, I can't even think of all of them. Rankworthy, places like that. They'll have a time limit. I didn't give you one on this, so I mean, some people might have just been, doing it for the sake of, I'll just put the one right up next, one shot right up next to it. So as soon as the narrator's done talking, boom, she picks right up. Well, this music helps give you a little bit of leeway on that. So I could pull this out. Just moving out just a little bit. Like obviously that's too much. Zooming in certainly helps. Finding that right spot.
North America and the late.
And that sounds about right.
North America and the late.
Yeah, it's not too slow, it's not too much. So you just have to kind of play with that. So some people just had it kind of butted way right up, so it was
to North America and the late.
It just was a little too fast, for you to comprehend, what it is you're talking about. Again, some people didn't adjust the aspect ratio. And if you're not using Premiere, which I think a couple people are, I'm not sure how to adjust it on there. You might, just kind of have to look for it. That's going to bug me. We'll just do it. Control Z. While I'm thinking about it, Control S is your best friend. That saves things. Control S right there. So it's saved. So it's constantly just anytime you got nothing better to do, about every 5 minutes, hit Control S. And it'll be a lifesaver because Premiere does just out of nowhere crash. It's like your best friend you can't count on 1 out of 100 times. It'll just out of nowhere. There is an autosave function to it. If something ever does happen to you where you lose it, let me know. You just need to go into your autosave. But if you're constantly updating by hitting Control S, then you're fine. That made me forget what I was talking about. Yes, aspect ratio, right? Fairly simple. Right click on it, scale to frame size. The other issue, and this was kind of harder because a lot of this footage, the eagle is on the left. So see, we got an eagle there and then an eagle there. And it kind of, if we remember back from our editing lecture, you know, that where that eye trace, you know, so there are some things you could do. You could look at like reversing the shot so that puts the eagle on the right. It's a, you know, there's different things you can do. Some people got a little creative with it, and it was really good. I could kind of tell who went through the footage and didn't, you know, because you want to start off with like a good strong shot, right? And this one, the eagle's this might not be the best one. It's a little cluttered with that, and the eagle's looking, you know, backwards, right? So finding the best shot that's corresponding with what the narrator is talking about certainly helps. So just listening to what's there, feeling the rhythm of it, editing to the music. That's why they say musicians are such good editors. You're kind of editing to the beat. A lot of times clients will just give you the music that they want to use, things like that, or they'll ask you to find some, and you just kind of look at the beat and you can kind of see the pops in throughout, and you can kind of edit to it. And so it just becomes like a symphony of these things sort of working together. This becomes your friend, like using a music layer like this as you're going forward. I'm going to hit the tilde key and that makes it a little bit bigger. As you're going forward, it's nice to have something here on as like a base level of something. Now, what this can be in your own productions is, like I had mentioned before, go out and get just a minute of footage of, like, say I'm shooting outside, right? I'm going to go outside and with my camera, with my audio equipment, whatever, I'm just going to capture the audio, right? 1 minute of the sounds going on outside. Now, I want to avoid, like, you know, really distinct sounds like, I don't know, a door slamming, a fireworks going off, something like that. Just the mundane sounds for as long as you can. And then you'll put that at the base here. Now, obviously, we don't need it for this one because the music is covering it up. You could have left the sound on, like in some of the shots, you hear the eagles making eagle noises or flying, flapping, whatever. You know, you can leave those on and just kind of mix so that it makes sense. But having some kind of base audio, even if it's not music, can help. Why? Because a lot of times the audio is recorded unevenly. So when I go from, say, this shot to this shot, especially when you get into more narrative, there's going to be this little with it. So, you know, if I was filming in my bedroom, I would just hit record on my camera and capture audio for as long as I can. You'd be surprised how even in a room like this, if you're really quiet, you can hear things like humming of an air conditioner, maybe a little ambient noise coming outside, things like that. And then you just bring it into Premiere like you would just your audio. Like, let's say you only got that much amount of time. You could just bring it in 100 times, or you can just copy. You'll want to probably lock all your other layers and then just Control D, V. I didn't lock that one, so that's why I put it there instead. But do that for all. That's called getting room tone or ambient, and it'll help you out. So, you know, all around, good job on the eagle. I would say slow down. Really think about it. Ask your friends, watch this. Does it make sense? Does it flow well? And that's the great thing is, like, anybody can have an opinion on how a video looks. So I would say a lot of them just seemed a tad bit rushed. But then some of them were the longest I've ever seen. I think I got one that was 11 minutes. Now, if you accidentally put something way down here, you know, and this is your, you know, the what you're working with, and you want to, you know, you think you're done. If there's footage down here, it's going to export too, unless you set those out points of as far as you want it to go. So we did have somebody who broke the record with the longest Eagle edit of like, I think it was 11 minutes or something. So, you know, that's the great thing with editing is it's non-linear like this. It's easy to fix. If you're ever in a bind, oh, and once again, Control S. Go ahead and save that. If you're ever in this like awful bind, I don't like my music's down there now. I like mine. I'm very like I want it organized on here, but you're in a bind. You want to try something maybe, or you're like I don't know if it'll work. I've created a new sequence right here. See, it's called Sequence 1. I'll show you how I did that. You just go to File, New, Sequence. If you ever see this, just look for something that's 1080p and 24 frames a second. There's different ones you can find. They're trying to match up to like cameras, what you shot it on, so it can interpret the footage better. But I've always just used this. It's never steered me wrong. A safe one is this digital SLR. Remember 1080p, that's 16 by 9. We'll just say 20, you could do that one. Since I'm pretty sure the footage is in 23976, we'll just use that. The frame rates on some cameras in America are just off by those minuscule frames. So say, okay. And actually, I'm going to redo it because, or can I do it from here? No, I can't. File, New, I got too busy explaining, Sequence. Okay, it's on the one I like. Now I can name it. Let's say we'll call this Test. All right, maybe you want to test to see if something worked. Okay, so now I'm on Test. Come over here, Control A, which is highlights everything. Control C, which is copies like you would do in a Word document. Come on over here, where your play header is at, is where you want it. Boom. Now I can test with this, and it's not gonna destroy anything over there. So I've even done it on my first feature film. I mean, we had a new sequence for every scene, and then for every act. So you can sometimes get a lot of these. So you do want to be specific with how you're naming them. I wouldn't just do 0. When you pull footage in onto your timeline, it's just automatically going to name the sequence what that shot was. And then if you do have more than one, see this little symbol here kind of looks like your timeline. You can then go ahead and make a new bin for your sequences. Okay, and then just bring them all in here. If you ever get lost, you're like, where the hell is everything? I know those are where my sequences are, and that'll just pop them up right there. All right, so that's the Eagle edit. Again, well done. Good job. Fun stuff. The chase scene. I've saved some in the past. I couldn't find the hard drive of some of the students that turned out really well. All around, some really good stuff. This class, it was kind of every class is a little different, right? So a lot of people nailed the chase, right? They made the chase very exciting, very dramatic. Some really good ones. Now, where a lot of people struggled is the kitchen scene. And the reason for that primarily is because, and I don't mean this to be mean because it's free footage given to us by Cinestudy, that actress is awful. You want your actors to be consistent in the delivery of their lines, the gesture of their hands, and things of that nature because she is hard to edit to. All right, so let's just go through this. You know, I didn't require music, but certainly for a scene like this, you're going to want some kind of sound. Again, you didn't have to do it, but I bet if you go back and put music in, you're going to be like, oh, damn, that's incredible. Let's just see this student I found online. I thought was pretty good. Slow in the beginning, building up in suspense. Obviously, this is way more produced than you needed to do. Building up this drama of this character coming in. Boom, there she is. Heighten the suspense. Good match on action. Let me pull this down just a little. Good. So her head is there. And so that one's a little late. You can kind of see when you go back. But, just be careful on your match to action. Like her head's already through. Boom, boom. It's action. We want cuts. We want excitement. They used a little bit more. This is really hard. This footage doesn't match. They shot this on some kind of GoPro. You'll be frustrated as an editor. You'll sometimes sit in there and be like, how the hell did they shoot this? What were they thinking? Again, this one is just for practice, but they shot this either on some weird extreme high angle thing, like a GoPro. But you just got to, the trick is you got to work with what's there. You got to work with what tools you've been given to try and find a way to make it work. So again, positively, like, just, it's almost like these two actors have never like moved. Like, where's the shot coming up? Here, it's like she's never ran in her life. But hey, it's what you got to work with. Free footage to practice on. So again, as they get up here, some of this footage was really hard to do. Like there are cameras and shots, things like that. But see how they just went from, she went here. They cut out a little bit of the geography because now it's a door handle at the other end. We can assume that, and it works. It's just like, oh, she ran from one end to the other. Some people did a cool thing of putting that in the beginning, which worked. But watch, that was a shot I didn't see a lot of from people, like her feeling trapped right there. Again, you can see a cameraman over there, so it's kind of a hard shot to use. Weird acting. Cut. So certainly not perfect, but it's pretty good. See how they use the tea kettle sound right here? I don't think one person caught this. Maybe they did. She screams, and they layered in the sound underneath it, right? You can add as many layers on your Premiere timeline as you want, right? She wakes up, and we still hear that teapot. Watch this bridge. They bridge over to that. Beautiful. That was really well done. Watch that again. So it goes from the dream to her awake to the kitchen. See how that just adds like sound and video and editing all coming together to make something work, even when it's, kind of a subpar performance. Okay, let's watch this kitchen scene now. Establish the geography. So we see the tea kettle right there, right? That was the motivation, the sound motivation that got her up. Now into the wide shot. Establish the friend there pouring the tea. Maybe could have held on it a little longer. Only because this shot is out of focus, so close up, back to a wide. Now this is where probably people it got tricky, is because her performance is so stilted that it would take a really long time to clean it up. A lot of time in fact. But now we went back out to the wide. Part of the reason they're going to this is to get that reaction of the friend. She's telling the story for the friend, right? So we're looking for her reaction. And that was the number one thing missing, is we didn't, a lot of students just put in one of the shots here, the wide shot, and just kept it. Occasionally that could work, but we just came off this really intense chase scene. So when it's that slow, it makes it hard. So even if you just went and took, one of the friend's reaction shots and put that in there, it breaks it up a little. I know there wasn't a ton of the friend in the close-up. You can even find, before they even called action, and she's her eye line is matching on here, right? You could even have pulled just clips of that before they started actually doing the scene and pepper that in as the reaction shots. Because you don't need to always pull the audio in. You could just pull the video. And if the director's in the background talking, well, who cares? The shot works. I've done that before on film. I had a good reaction from an actor one time. He was like looking around befuddled, which I needed for the scene. But in reality, it was just before we shot, he was looking for me to ask where he should be looking in the scene, but it worked.
Hawkins warehouse, and then we went up some stairs, and it was about to do me in, and then I woke up. But it was so weird. It's terrible. You knew this more than I do.
So it is really hard to get those puzzle pieces to fit, where the hands are in the same place, where her line is being delivered smooth. But this is my way of showing you it can be done. Overall, good job. It made me want to think about going back at the end of the semester and saying, hey, take another pass at this. If this was an editing class, we definitely would, but we got to get on to more stuff. So that's just a little follow-up to everything. All right, so we're on Module 4, which will be October 9th through the 22nd. All right, and this is a pretty simple one. I didn't do an overview because there's not a ton. So what I want you to do is we're going to move on to production design and audio with one little assignment for lighting that we didn't get a chance to do. So I want you to watch the two main lectures from yours truly are here and here. I have two more that are supplemental. But I highly, if you're interested in going into this field, I highly recommend it. Really exciting, fun. I mean, who doesn't like seeing examples of color in film and how it can be used? And then the history of sound in cinema. Again, really important. So I'm not going to require it. I don't have reading this week. And since you have two lectures, but I don't think either of them are very long. I think this is like 5 or 10 minutes and this might be 20. So worth a watch. I do have this one on production design, but it's corresponding to your assignment. So let's look at that right now. I'm gonna hit modules. Okay, assignments. Oh, I gotta change that. I want you to watch the film The Royal Tenenbaums. If you've already seen it, you can watch it again. Or send me a list of maybe 5 films. Like, I've seen Royal Tenenbaums 100 times. I don't want to watch it again. I'd like some consistency with the class, so please don't recommend, the 2 exceptions for finding a different movie. 1, you've seen the Royal Tenenbaums 1,000 times. You have it memorized by heart. Or 2, you can't afford the, $4 you're really struggling right now, and you can't afford the 4 to rent it. If that's the case, please email me a list of 5 films that you have access to. Don't pick one that you've seen. Maybe go to the library, peruse on a streaming service that you have or something like that. And just give me 5 and I'll tell you 1 to watch out of there. I want you to, talk about the ways the production design helped tell the story, look at color, costume, props, location, basically anything that Wes Anderson used in this film. His films are nothing but intense production design. So you'll know what I'm talking about when you watch it. It's very stylized. It's very unique. It's not like a type of film you typically see. It's got kind of a hipster European vibe to it, even though he's from Texas. He went to University of Texas with Owen Wilson and Luke Wilson. And, they made one student film and they all got famous from it. So what I'd like you to do is write 250 words, 1 page, double space, discussing what you noticed about the production design. You can use stills from the movie if you can find them online, things like that. You can do a screen grab, whatever you want. If you want to include it, that's fine. Not required, but it shows you went the extra mile. How did production design help tell the story? Please check your grammar, spelling, use academic wording, and make sure your font and format are consistent. Okay, so that's assignment 7, and I'm going to edit this because it will bug me. The rate assignment. Okay. All right, so this has got a folder with it. So the actual assignment is here. For this, I want you to take pictures. You can use your phone, perfectly fine, that capture the following lighting different lighting schemes, and you'll see what they are. I know that most likely you all don't own film lights. Maybe some of you have a ring light. Using something like that would be fine, but you can use windows. You can use, what lighting is available to you. I know there's some big windows in Benson, and it kind of like glass sometimes has a little bit of natural diffusion, so it helps to soften it. And I believe in there, it's almost like there's a very small sunglass diffusion on it. I want you to watch the lecture on cinematic lighting if you haven't done that already, and then I will show you the example that you give. I want you to put everything on one document. You'll do a picture and a label. Let me just go over to that. I tried to get them on one thing, but for some reason, Blackboard is not my friend. So on here, it'll have specifically what you're supposed to do. One high key shot, one low key shot, one with pictorial lighting. That is where the lighting is telling more of a story than us needing like it's kind of helping to evoke mood with the shot, things like that. One soft lighting, one hard lighting. And if you want to do these, like how this is, that it's two of the same thing, just using a different lighting scheme, working on it, helping to shape light, that's fine too. You can do that. And then one silhouette. That'll just give you 6 shots that you can practice with. Shaping light is just so important with film. I didn't realize, like, kind of going into things, you think, the camera, really film is painting with light. That's all it is. So learning how to go from a shot like this that is great for commercials to a very dramatic shot, going from hard lighting where we have very defined shadow shape to very soft lighting. Hugely important, hugely. So just go out, you just have to take still pictures, nothing crazy with it. If you didn't watch it already, this is the link for that cinematic lighting where he goes over it. So hopefully you already watched it. If not, I just put the link here again because it will help you mostly in where you can place the light, how you can bounce light, some good tips in there that'll help you in this process. Okay? And then finally, assignment 9. On my audio lecture, well, all I want you to do is just write out 10 facts that you learned while watching it, and focus on sound hierarchy, perspective, sound bridges, off-screen sound, sound montage. Not limited to those 10, but I want you to include that in the 10. 1 to 2 sentences perfectly fine as long as I know that you understand. So an example, sound hierarchy consists of understanding what is most important in a scene as far as what can be heard at a given moment and placing emphasis on the level of sound for that character or object. Okay, great. I know you understand. Don't write something like sound hierarchy is important in film. That won't fly. Okay, so see the difference? That's all you got to do for that one. All of these are due on the 22nd. Speaking of sound, while I have Premiere over, right here, your level is hugely important.
Only Eagle unique to North America.
You want to try and hit around 18 to 12 on, so if I had the time, I could pull these down just a little.
Is the only Eagle unique.
There you go. Try and get your talking in that range. Again, you just have to watch this. If you ever see this, all right, you've peaked, and you could just hear it in those few seconds. I hope I didn't blow your eardrums out if you had something in there, but
Is the only Eagle unique.
talking should be in that range. Music, depending on if it's like laying under, like how this is supporting. That's pretty good. I could go a little lower, a little less. Put headphones on when you edit sound, and you're just mixing that in to make it good. Some people, I can tell they weren't really looking at their audio levels. All right. So this overview was a little longer than anticipated, but hopefully it gets you going in the right direction. Just to show you coming up. I have a link of where, I should have said this, where you can find the Royal Tenenbaums. I just did stream the Royal Tenenbaums. Most places have it. So, and you're looking at about $4 to watch it. It's really good. I'd say 90% of people love it. 10% are like, this is so weird, but it's good. A lot of big name actors in it. And I can give you a list of other films if you like it. But all you got to do is stream the Royal Tenenbaums. Your next module coming up, and I might have this one posted soon, you'll be doing an experimental film, getting all avant-garde on us. All right, everybody, I hope you have a good few days off coming up. I'm going to post this soon so you can get going on it if you want. Please don't put things off. I'm starting to notice people are putting things off till the last minute. I do this so that you can discipline yourself to make the class work for you and your schedule. Don't rush. Get a lot out of this, right? Who doesn't like film? We're going to get into, you filming more for the remainder of the semester, so it'll be a little less bookwork and more going out and filming and having fun. All right. God bless you all. Have a good break. Stay safe.